Hey guys, my name is Sean. Today I am here to profile to you my Weather Painter Windwitch deck. This is a deck I've been working on for a while. I really like the Weather Painters, just the art and the playstyle of them. And I think the engine they work best with is the Windwitches, and I'll explain that when I get to them. And I've been having a lot of fun playing this deck. So, let's just get into it. Start off with 3 Weather Painter Seal, or Weathery Seal, or Weather Painter Snow. She's the important one. She's the expensive one. You normal summon her, place a spell trap card from deck, and you can go off from there. Normally you'll be placing Snowy Canvas, so Snow and Snowy Canvas are the best cards of the deck. We'll also have 3 Weather Painter Thunder. Thunder's like Snow if you can't get to Snow, but can get to the other continuous spells and traps, mostly the spells, but I don't play a lot of the continuous spells, honestly, so I might cut Thunder down to 2 if I go down to it, but Thunder's still really good. And along with him, I play 2 Weather Painter Cloud. Cloud's nice to have once you already get like a Weather Painter cycle going, but you don't really want multiples of her because she doesn't really do anything if you don't already have an established board. And 1 Sun. Sun is what you, like, the last thing. If you have Snow, I think this is the order you go into to get all different Weather Painters. That's neither here or there. That's just what I want. These are just all the Weather Painter monsters I play. I don't play Rain because she sucks, and I don't play Aurora because she's too slow. Next up for the Wind Witches, we have 3 Ice Spell, 2 Glass Spell, probably should move that down there, and 1 Snow Bell. So the Wind Witches are really good, because the problem with Weather Painters is they can outgrind any opponent, but the problem is getting to that grind game, and Ice Spell is just a 1 card, just no to your opponent. You can either make Crystal Wing or Stardust, depending on what your hand is, and Undestructible Crystal Wing is nothing to scoff at, and it'll help you get to those later forms of the game where you can just snowball from there. So I really like this image. Also, if you don't have an Ice Spell and only have a Glass Spell, Glass Spell works on normal summon, and it also works with Cloud. So Cloud is like doubly important in this deck because it does work with the Wind Witches. Next up, I run Kaijus, Gamma Seal, Kumungus, and Dogoran. Kaijus are good because with the trap canvas, you can bounce them to hand after you give them to your opponent. I don't play any more of this, and the only reason I play this is because you can use Slumber. So yeah, Kaijus are really good. Hand traps, I should probably bump the Ghost Ogre to 2 and take out the Effect Veiler because I only have 1 Ash Blossom. I'm not probably going to get another. But for the most part, I just like hand traps in general. It doesn't really matter what you play in hand traps. Just 3 in general is a nice number in the deck. It's really the most I can fit. If I could, I'd try to fit more. That's it for the monsters. On to the spells. We have 3 Weather Snowy Canvas. This is the canvas you want to have out the most because this is your searcher, quick effect searcher, and it's also the only one that requires nothing else on the board, only a monster and the canvas to activate, which might not sound like a big deal, but when you're trying to dodge effects and keep your monsters like in rotation, that is important to the strategy. So play this at 3. I don't know why you wouldn't play this at 3. For the other canvases, we one runs Cloudy and 1 Rainy. Really, these are the only other 2 like spell canvases I run. Halves attacks and bounces back row. This one's okay with anti-spell, but you don't really need multiples because unless they cyclone it or you banish it off Desires, but really Desires is just good enough. Because you can recycle it with Cloud and Thunder, and if it sticks, it's okay. If you lose it, they're not the biggest problem. I play 2 Desires because extra cards are always good, and you're playing multiples of the important canvases anyway, so I don't really feel like it's a big deal. And lastly, for the spells, 1 Slumber. This is the only board wipe I play in the main. And it works good. It kind of sucks, though. I don't know. A lot of times you dead draw this and can't really do anything else. Other times it's helpful. If you're going to cut anything, cut the Slumber. And just side it, I guess. And that's it for the spells. So for the trap canvases, we play 2 Thundery Canvas and 1 Auroral Canvas. So Thundery Canvas is the one where if it battles, it bounces the monsters. And this is pretty much the only form of spot removal weather painters have. That is like monster disruption. So that's okay, I guess. Auroral Canvas is fun. Because like if they search something like really interesting that you don't want in their hand, they don't have it anymore. So that's good. It basically turns like any search card like terraforming into an upstart. And I'm pretty sure they'd rather have a terraforming than an upstart if they're using terraforming. So that's pretty good. Also, left arm, I've won a game once because a guy was so afraid of this card. They left armed into Brilliant Fusion so I wouldn't banish the grass out of their hand. But they already had a monster in the extra monster zone that couldn't do anything, so they lost like that. So that was pretty fun. We play 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance. So you're trying to go first in this deck, and Anti-Spell Fragrance is probably the best card for just slowing down your opponent enough to get your snowball going. You set cards, and with the Raining Canvas, they just can't play spell cards anymore. It's just really good, and it's a blowout against Pendulum Magicians, especially when you open multiple, like I always seem to do against every Pendulum Magician player I ever play. 2 strike, just more protection. Strike Crystal Wing is like a pretty good board. So just saying. And 2 Torrential Tribute. I ran this at 3. It was too cloggy at 3. Plus with Crystal Wing, the Snowbell doesn't protect your monsters. The Snowbell doesn't protect the Crystal Wing against your destruction effects, only your opponent. So running 3 is kind of overkill. And lastly, 1 Skill Drain. Skill Drain's good because all your weather painters banish after they leave banish as cost, so they're off the field when activating the effects. And if you can just not activate it, and like you can also ditch it off Thunder for an extra canvas. If you have Skill Drain, it still gets to perfection because that's not the Crystal Wings effect. I don't have a lot in the extra deck that matters. I have Break Sword, Nightmare Shark, Acid Golem of Destruction, Grand Pulse, Totem Bird, and Angleneer for my rank 3s. As in going to this one's spot removal. This one wins games. This one wins games. This one wins games. They have an empty board and nothing really do about it. This one wins games. They have a full board and like 600 life points left. More spot removal. Totem Bird is good because you can make a Cloud and a Windwitch if the Windwitch gets effect veilers. And this is just stalling tool if you have nothing else. I also play Giga Brilliant and Diggle Pudge Corvage. This never comes up, but when it does, it's great. And a Downward Magician, just in case. I really never go into like 90% of my rank 3s, but I don't know what else to put there, and they're good enough. Windwitches, 1 Winter Bell, Crystal Wing, and Stardust. I very might, bump Winter Bell up to 2, just because after that first one, like, you can still make it and stuff. Stardust is good if you're against Pendulum Magicians. It's probably the better of the 2, because it's hard to out it, and because everything Pendulum Magicians destroys anyway. If you can get Anti-Spell and Stardust on the field, you're pretty good. Or, honestly, not Anti-Spell, but Unending Nightmare, which I side. Same difference, same philosophy, just the Wind Witches are really good in this deck. Lynx, 1 Underclock Taker, never make it. 1 Rainbow, you can make it, you never really want to. Rainbow doesn't win games, it's the grind that wins games. Most of the time, if you're going to Rainbow, you've already won. It's just overkill, so you really only need 1. And 1 Akashic Magician, you make this a couple times. It's really whatever. That's really it for the main and side. 40 card main deck. I guess, or main and extra. I guess I can show you to the side. 2 on any nightmare I play, 2 D barrier, 1 macrocosmos, just general shit. 1 Raigeki, dark hole, more board ripes. Monster Reborn, probably gonna cut this for a 3rd D barrier. D fissure, 2 arrow, and Necrovalley engine. I like the Necrovalley engine a lot. So what can I say about this deck? The Windwitches are really good. Oh, I should probably explain some cards I don't play, like Valhalla. I don't play Valhalla because it doesn't work with the first turn play of the Windwitches. It's just a worse card in that regard. And I would much rather have a Crystal Wing and a Weather Painter than 2 Weather Painters on the field. Because a Crystal Wing will get me to the point where I can play multiple Weather Painters. Yeah, that's pretty good. I really like this deck. I really like the way it's been working out. You can cut some things probably to your own personal preference if you want. The Desires could probably cut. It's kind of overkill. I just like this deck. I've been playing it a lot. I have Pendulums made. I just don't want to play them because I feel like it's not really working true for the deck. But yeah, let me know what you think of the deck, I guess. I'm going to end it like that. Yeah, this is always like the thing. I just prefer Break Sword because I go into it more. And Necrovalley because Necrovalley is my favorite field spell in the game. So that's the Weather Painter deck profile. Enjoy Gladion. Best field center in the game. Thank you and goodbye.